Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this. Everybody always worries if the price of XRP is gonna go down. They act like only XRP ever dips in this space. Well, Bitcoin holders are also worried about what's coming. Bitcoin will go as low as 92 to 94K, then blast off to well over 150K in Q1 of 2026. They are playing you, trying to make you think that October 6th was a multi-year top. It wasn't. The gold rotation into Bitcoin will be enormous. I've said this since August 2025. Bookmark this. I have. So what they're expecting is Bitcoin to go all the way back down under 100K before it blasts off. Now, if that happens, it would then take XRP and the rest of the market with it. But is that going to happen? We really don't know. And everybody's assuming a much deeper crash has to happen. But who's to say we don't start to break out from here? Nobody knows. XRP whales continue to dump tokens as uncertainty looms. And they're also talking about whales dumping XRP and a retest of $1 per XRP. Again, I doubt this is going to happen. Will we fall below $2? That is very well possible. But a rebound is absolutely coming. But they put these articles out, and new investors, right away, they start to get worried. You know, I just got in on XRP at $2.50 or $3, and now it's going back to $1. Maybe I should sell now and buy back in later. But nobody says that this is going to happen 100%. It could happen. But then again, XRP could rebound from where we're at right now and go on a massive parabolic run. Imagine selling only to watch XRP take off. That's why I always tell you, when the market's red, do nothing. Buy the dip if you're going to do anything, because you don't lose anything unless you sell. If you sell on a red day, then you lose money. If you do nothing on a red day and wait for the market to rebound, you will make money. Any guesses to which incredible technology NASDAQ CEO is referring to? Take a listen to this.
So as we are seeing some changes in monetary policy, you're seeing the small caps starting to lift up as well. But the rest of the market, in particular the large caps, have had an incredible environment around them. There is an incredible technology that is coming. It's on the scene. It's extremely early, but it's already having effect. I think that people, as a general thesis, tend to be very excited and enthusiastic early. And at the end of the day, this technology, in my opinion, will be the fastest moving and most consequential technology that we'll see in many decades. It's an incredible technology that will come, and I do think it will achieve a lot of incredible productivity gains over time. It takes time, though. Yeah. It's very early, and people get very excited, but the fact is that as we build out the infrastructure, the models are improving every single month, every single quarter. The way that the models are being able to be brought together now through agents and digital workers to be able to string together capabilities will drive productivity. And investors are understanding that. So investors are there to predict the future, and they definitely predict a bright future. But I would also point out that since the beginning of 2024 until today, while the NASDAQ 100 is up 47%, the earnings of the companies in the NASDAQ 100 are up 32%. So there is a lot of justification for the...
So which incredible technology do you think she's talking about? Well, she's going to be at Ripple Swell this year. Big news, NASDAQ Chair and Chief Executive Officer Adena Friedman is joining us in New York City as a keynote speaker at Ripple Swell 2025. She'll explore the future of the financial system, the potential of digital assets and blockchain, the evolving role of tokenization, and emerging technologies. You know, everybody always talks about this incredible technology, this technology that makes it possible to move money in real time. It allows you to do wire transfers in a matter of seconds for less than a penny, but they never say what it is. They all know what it is. It's RippleNet and XRP. But for some reason, nobody wants to say its name. And that tells you that this is going to be big. When they start talking about XRP on the mainstream media news and everybody's talking about XRP all of a sudden, that's when you know that the flip of the switch is about to happen or has already happened, because they don't want you buying XRP at these prices. They want you to be buying XRP at $50, $100, $150, and so on. And they always want to shake out as many people as they can before the parabolic move begins. And that's what everybody's waiting on right now. Since lots of you are asking, here's everything you need to know about a digital asset treasury company. TLDR, they're publicly listed companies that hold large amounts of crypto on their balance sheets. How do they get the money to buy crypto? By selling shares or issuing convertible notes, debt to raise capital from investors. How do they make money? Since they're buying crypto, their hope is that the underlying token price goes up. The value of their stock goes up too. How does this affect the token price? Since treasury companies buy tokens, they drive upward price pressure by taking the tokens off the market and reducing the supply. And when supply goes down, price goes up. Plus, since treasury companies only buy the underlying token and don't sell, they only drive upward price pressure. Think of them like the strongest diamond hands. When the institutions and these treasury companies continue to buy up XRP, they're going to lock it away for long periods of time. They're not going to rush to sell it at $10 or $20 or $30. They're planning on holding it for years and utilizing it. Some of them will actually utilize it to send money across borders. But anybody that thinks like these institutions are going to come into this space, buy up a whole bunch of XRP only to dump it on us later, that's just not going to happen. You got to realize the demand for XRP is going to continue to rise because of its utility, because it has an actual use case in the real world. Only owning XRP means you've already seen what most people won't until it's too late. Congratulations on being ahead of the curve. Anybody buying XRP or owning XRP right now, you're ahead of so many people. There's going to be buyers, I'm telling you, coming in at $5, at $10, $20. You're going to see FOMO like you've never seen before once XRP breaks out. You're going to be glad you were buying at these prices. And you know, when we were at $3, I remember so many people saying, I just wished XRP would go back around $2 so I could back up the truck. The price of XRP comes down, and right away everybody's complaining. What's going on with the price of XRP? Why isn't it going higher? What's taking so long for the price of XRP to go up? Well, what they do is they bring the price down, and then they make it go sideways. So all the frustrated people continue to sell off and exit this market. Eventually, enough people are going to exit that they say now it's go time and the market rebounds. Do you know how many times I've watched people sell their crypto only to watch it go higher the next day or really break out over the next couple of days? People were selling right before XRP went to $1.92 back in 2021. And it was because of the Ripple versus SEC case. Plus, XRP was getting delisted everywhere. And people continued to sell off their XRP and panic sell. And XRP is going to be deemed a security. It's going to zero. But then what happened? The price broke out. Everybody was regretting selling it shortly after. And here we are now, and XRP is around between $2 and $3. Just wait until it really starts to break out. I'm telling you, you are ahead of so many people. And this is what XRP is built to do. Take a listen to Circle's Jeremy Allaire here at the IMF.
We need light touch regulation because the technological progress is happening so rapidly. And my own view, for example, is that in 5 years' time, like the concept of a cross-border payment is going to sound like a cross-border email. Like when is the last time you sent a cross-border email? It doesn't even make sense. When all of these people had their SMS charges on their mobile phones in emerging markets, and then they all had WhatsApp and had free communications globally, they weren't asking anymore about data charges and their cell phone SMS. They didn't care what SMS was, it was gone. Yeah. And billions of people were communicating directly, freely.
Yes.
We're going through an exponential curve, and I think that the innovations are things that we haven't contemplated, and that's a good thing. That's actually a really good thing. I use the metaphor of mobile. We all remember for like 15 years, like there was everyone was trying to build the best mobile platform, and there was the Symbian phones, and there was the Palm Pilot, and there was the BlackBerry, and there was the Windows Phone, and they were all terrible. And like 100,000 people a year would get together in Barcelona and go to Mobile World Congress and say, we're inventing the future of this, that, mobile, and none of it worked. And there were billions and billions and billions of dollars from major communications companies, major device companies, and it all was terrible. And then you got a platform paradigm shift. You had a good operating system, iOS. You had good user experience modalities. And developers were given the freedom to innovate. They were given an open surface area where they could create things, and anyone could build an application. And if you remember the iPhone, the very first ad campaign was, there's an app for that. And it was this recognition that invention is happening. And industries were revolutionized by that device and by that convergence of compounding technologies. Why?
I thought that was a great clip because it tells you what's about to happen. The reason they need regulations, though, is so things can continue to build. We're so close to cross-border payments, and yet we're still held back by the lack of regulations in this country and that country. Every single country has to have some sort of regulations in place, otherwise cross-border payments are never going to work. But we're almost there now. Once regulations come to the United States, it's going to greenlight so many of these institutions that are going to start to really build things out, and that will lead us to mass adoption. The XRP hoard is a good distribution mechanism. Just like with the ETFs, XRP that is bought by those vehicles from Ripple's holdings also means that XRP that's not hitting a centralized exchange immediately when done right. You're not gaining the buying on the centralized exchange, but also not the selling if you could find entities who want to hold XRP long term. The more entities Ripple can distribute XRP to that have the mindset to hold XRP for a longer time, the better it is. That's the key part here. Can you find committed holders? Distribution is the name of the game. Everybody's talking about Ripple buying up that XRP. And where is it going? A lot of people think it's going to some of these institutions. And they think that all the XRP is just going to disappear very quick now. But Ripple's objective has consistently been to maintain ownership of 25% of the total XRP supply. And of course, it's documented. That comes from Smoke. I actually like the fact that Ripple's holding on to some of the XRP supply because they're going to continue to use it strategically. They're not going to flood the market with XRP. They're going to hold it and use it for acquisitions and so on. But you see all the FUD around this all of a sudden. People are like, oh, well, Ripple could just mint more XRP tomorrow. Why are they looking to buy back XRP? People don't realize there's no minting of new XRP. The supply is the supply. And every time transactions happen, a little bit of XRP gets burned. But people always thought that's where the value was going to come from, burning XRP over time. But now we have XRP getting locked away by treasury companies. That's a bigger deal to me because they could buy millions upon millions of dollars worth of XRP and lock it away for 5 years or 10 years or even 20 years. Just wait until the central banks start acquiring XRP. I think they most likely will get that XRP handed to them from Ripple. A lot of people think some of that escrow is already promised to the IMF, World Bank, and so on. But we're almost to the point where we're going to see cross-border payments go live at scale. The new financial system is still loading. If you have to put a time frame on it, it's hard to do that. But you could see everything accelerating now. When they're talking openly about creating payments that move as fast as email around the world, they're telling you this is coming. And if they're now starting to openly talk about it, most likely we're way closer than we actually think. And when it happens, I think the banks will come out of the testing phase on the private ledger. So we will most likely see a very expensive XRP in the very near future. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.